Hey there, you're listening to BD4, where there's no better way to get your Yankees and Knicks analysis. Yanks every series, Knicks every game, and MMA on occasion. Here's your host, RJ Carbone.
And a high drive into left center field. Stanley's going to watch another one fly. Are you kidding me? DiVincenzo a three. Bang! Bang! Knicks take a 1-point
time to apologize to absolutely nobody.
At the wall. See ya! See ya! See ya! Mr. Nova.
Anthony for three. Bang! That one goes down and the game is tied.
Rose, you shook up the world again.
I did it again. My God did it, man. I really just had
Gonna have to. Brunson running away. Oh my! He has been the best player to put on that uniform.
Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win.
Well, counting down the days. We are about 5 days away from opening day. We're almost here, folks. So that means things are starting to shape up. The Yankees are making their final cuts, their final demotions, their final lineup and position moves, and stapling guys in, giving you a hint of what's to come, rotation-wise, lineup-wise, all around the diamond. So that's kind of what we're going to discuss for hopefully 30 minutes, no more. I do have a Knicks game to catch. They're playing a big game tonight against the Wizards. You know, the Knicks shouldn't be a big game for them, but they've had issues. But so we'll try to get this into this time slot as quick as we can. But we want to get as much of a quality episode as we can. So there's a lot of things to discuss. And I think the first spot I want to begin with is voice crack. The leadoff spot. You know, the Yankees have made some comments lately about what they're going to do at leadoff. One of them being something that we all, I think, expect at this point. For the last couple of weeks, it's kind of been hinted by the Yankees' comments and what they've done to start the games with Austin Wells getting the first at-bat, right? And it looks like Austin Wells will be the Yankees' leadoff hitter. And I'm not going to lie to you, I love it. We've spoken about it before. First thing that came to my mind when I heard about this news, because I'm an old school fan, my first reaction was, don't love that idea. Came around to it like 15 minutes later, just thinking about how much it made sense. Started thinking about Kyle Schwarber, you know, guy who kind of started that trend. 15 home runs at the leadoff spot last year, which was a major league record. But we're kind of, I think we're entering an era where you're going to start to see this a little bit more and more. It's a modern approach to go with pop and on base at the top, right? In fact, I just wrote an article on this at BD4blog.com, pop at the top. But power and on base seems to be what you want at the top nowadays. Last year, Austin Wells hit 13 home runs for the Yankees, drew 47 walks, and that was across 414 plate appearances. You know, he's a very selective hitter. That's one thing that all Yankees fans have taken note of. When he's up there, he's going to draw walks. He's not going to chase pitches out of the zone. And he's going to be aggressive on pitches in the zone. Right? Last year, Austin Wells' walk rate was among the 89th percentile in baseball. His chase rate was 70th percentile. And in terms of swinging at pitches in the zone swing percentage, he was 6% better there than league average. So, tells you he's got a good eye, but he's also aggressive. at the same time. And I think that is a perfect recipe, being that he's got the biggest RBI threat in baseball batting behind him. Right? I mean, why wouldn't you want somebody who gets on base as their priority hitting in front of the captain, Aaron Judge? That's why you don't really want speed in front of Aaron Judge also. To me, it seems like a waste to put speed at leadoff because the Yankees aren't going to use that. They're not going to steal with whoever's on first base when Aaron Judge is at the plate. They've shown that time and again. You don't want to waste that spot on a speedster, on a traditional leadoff hitter. Not to mention, Austin Wells is a guy who, over the course of his career, 43% of his hits have gone for extra bases anyway. So, not half the time, but pretty close to half the time, he's on second base. So, I mean, at least. So, it just makes sense in that way. He's also a fastball hitter. Last year he slugged .415 on fastballs. So you're thinking as a leadoff hitter, Austin Wells is going to see a lot of first pitch fastballs to begin the games because that's what most pitchers do to throw the first pitch. And I expect him to be aggressive and jump first pitch a lot. So as a leadoff bat, he's going to see a lot of strikes. He's going to see a lot of fastballs. Again, two areas where he thrives in. So I think he fits that mold perfectly. And I'm excited to see what he can do at the leadoff spot. And if you care, he has been mashing in spring training at the leadoff spot. Don't have the numbers in front of me, but my only concern with Austin Wells hitting leadoff is the workload. Leadoff obviously is a lot of reps. You're getting the most at-bats on the team. Catcher is a very physically demanding, taxing position, the most in the sport. And we did see Wells, as he, grew into that everyday role, wear down at the end of last year. In September, he slugged just 194. In October, he was not much better. So I'm kind of hoping now with DH, more of a fluid position, now that Stanton's sidelined for a few months at the very least, that the Yankees, and I know the Yankees are going to use DH on their vets like Judge and Goldschmidt to get them off their feet, but I do feel like they should be treating catchers the same as they do veterans, regardless of the age, because catchers are a very important position to protect. So I think if Austin Wells gets some DH days here and there, I think he'll be fine in terms of having that durability. But also, with the Curry report yesterday, and as I'm recording, it's Saturday the 22nd, Wells is not going to be exactly the everyday leadoff man. We know he struggles hitting left-handed pitching. So he's got a 208 slugging against lefties in his major league career. But we also know who mashes left-handed pitching. And that's a guy they recently brought in this past offseason, by the name of Paul Goldschmidt. And Paul Goldschmidt mashes lefties. Curry put out a tweet yesterday that said Boone mentioned the idea to him that Goldschmidt would get leadoff reps versus lefties. He said it wasn't set in stone. It's not something he's guaranteeing, but you could see it. And I think it would make sense because obviously one of the Yankees' biggest struggles last year was left-handed pitching. And before Glaber got hot in that second half, they didn't really have a consistent leadoff hitter. And someone like Paul Goldschmidt, real quick, I have it on my notes. The Yankees last year against lefty pitching, 334 on base, but a 387 slug. Goldschmidt last year against left-handed pitching was excellent. 366 on base, 473 slug. Over the course of his career, Goldschmidt against lefties is stupid. He's absurd. a 424 on base, 586 slug. So if he's very close to what he was last year, that's a win. And that could be a perfect spot to lead off a game with the guy who's going to get on base against left-handed pitching. Now, he doesn't have a ton of experience, Goldschmidt, at the leadoff position. Today was actually the first time Jesus Luzardo was pitching for the Phillies, and Goldschmidt got the start, righty on lefty. He went 0 for 2. He did later in the game against a right-handed relief pitcher draw a walk and an RBI, but 0 for 2 against Luzardo. But I think, in theory, it's a very good idea. I think having Wells take right-handed pitching and having Goldschmidt handle left-handed pitching, I think that's a good formula to start off the season with and see how that can work. We just talked about Wells and having leadoff pop. I think Goldie, given that he's a right-handed hitter who hits the ball very hard still and is very capable of going to the opposite field, you put those two things together, that's success in Yankee Stadium. You could start off a game with him, little solo bomb. So it's a good experiment for April at the very least. The Yankees usually use April as a spring training. They don't take it too serious. They like to mix and match with their lineup and do lots of different things. So I think that's a good starting point if you're trying to find an identity at the top of the order. And then on days where Wells is not leading off, he'll bat third. And on days where there's a righty on the mound, Goldschmidt will bat cleanup. So I said Wells will bat third. Wells will bat fourth. On days where there's a lefty on the mound, Wells will clean up. And on days where there's a righty on the mound, that'll be Goldschmidt. So they'll swap depending on who's leading off. And then third in the order, Cody Bellinger. That's, I think, been confirmed. Or all but confirmed. But it seems like that's what we're going to get. At the beginning of the offseason, I was kind of thinking about it. What he would look like in front of Judge, right? There was some talk about him leading off. If he hits before Judge, the idea that he'll see more pitches. But now it's been pretty much confirmed that he's going to be third in the order, which I might like better because he's now going to get a ton of RBI opportunities hitting behind Aaron Judge, who's going to be on base, 44, 45% of the time. Bellinger, if you care, has been raking in camp. He's got an 1194 OPS across 17 games. But, everybody who knows Bellinger knows that he's got the swing for it. He's got the resume for it. He's got the Yankee history with his father being here. I think we could all see him being successful in pinstripes. Now, one topic I've constantly brought up every time we talk about Bellinger here on the show, he did change his approach when he was with the Cubs the last couple of years because he played at Wrigley, which is a pitcher-friendly ballpark. The last couple of years, he's been hitting the ball a lot softer. He doesn't hit it as hard. The bat speed numbers aren't great. The exit velo numbers aren't great. He's focused more on bat control to get more base hits and more contact, less strikeouts, etc. He only hit 18 home runs last year across 130 games. He has been hitting the ball a lot harder in the spring. And hopefully this year he brings that power-heavy approach, swing hard, pull the ball in the air a lot more. Especially coming to Yankee Stadium, you don't want him hitting the ball to left field. So even if it's more strikeouts and the batting average dips a little bit, if it's going to get him closer to 30 home runs, I think he needs to hit for more power. I think Bellinger coming in here, the reason we want him in here is to hit those bombs. That's where I want production from him. I don't want him being anything but a lefty masher, left-handed masher. I think he could do that. So, and listen, he could be due for a breakout, right? It's been a few years, and that happens with someone every year. There's always somebody who shocks. Always. With the Yankees. Miguel Andujar, Go back to last year, Luis Heel. Like, it's always somebody who's like, oh. And, the power numbers play up in Yankee Stadium versus Wrigley Field, where he's hitting into a deep right field and you got the wind blowing in. He was not good at Wrigley Field. He was very much better on the road. Coming into Yankee Stadium, got the short porch. He's got a chance to break out. And remember, we're talking about a guy with a 120 OPS plus over the course of his career. Like, that's really good to be 20% better than the league average hitter. People keep counting Bellinger out, and they're skeptical on him because his career has been a giant roller coaster. I get it. And it's also because he's not Juan Soto. I get that. But, like, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but, like, if he came here and he was Bellinger from his early days in the Dodgers, like, to be honest, yeah, there'd be some, like, whoa, that's cool. But, like, another part of me would be like, I'm not too shocked because he's done it before. And this is the perfect ballpark for him to refine that, to tap into that again. And, like, I get this feeling, I don't know, I don't really care either what his playoff numbers are. I can see him really doing well in October baseball. But I think something that's very slept on with Cody Bellinger, outside the defense and stuff, he's very capable against lefties. He can hit lefties. I wouldn't call him a lefty masher, but as a left-handed hitter, he has a 778 OPS versus southpaws. And last year, he hit to a 746 OPS against lefties. So he's an above-average bat when he's facing lefties. It's not like he's got some drastic splits like an Austin Wells or like Ben Rice has in his professional career and, etc. No, he can handle lefties, and he's good against righties. But yeah, there are the other aspects of his game that you like from Bellinger. He's an athletic player, can play multiple positions. He's also a good base runner. That's going to offer Boone a lot of flexibility. So, Cody Bellinger, I'm looking forward to see what he can do. Again, I'm not expecting anything crazy, but again, I wouldn't be shocked if we got something crazy. I think the range of what you could get from Cody is 750 OPS type player to what he was in his early days in LA. I'm not counting that out. Obviously, I lean more towards the conservative side. I want to talk a little bit more on a couple of other guys when we return from break here, so stay with us. We'll be back in a sec. BD4 is available on social media for those who want to follow. You can find BD4 on Instagram at BD4Pod. You can find us on X at BD4Pod. And you can find us on Facebook by simply searching BD4. Hey guys, just a quick reminder, this podcast is also available in video format on YouTube. So be sure to go over to the YouTube channel, BD4, subscribe, like the videos, comment, and tell me how much I suck or maybe how much you like the video. We'd very much appreciate it. Don't have time to sit down and watch a video? You can listen to BD4 on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts. And you can also watch the video format on Spotify too. All right, welcome back to the show, episode 831. Couple other things before we wrap it up. Dom Smith, who the Yankees invited to camp, they signed him earlier in the winter, invited him to camp. He raked in camp, 857 OPS across 13 games, took the number 22. He opted out the other day. This is a former Mets top prospect, veteran first baseman. He's pretty mediocre at the plate over the course of his career. 97 OPS plus last season with Cincy and Boston. 91 OPS plus. He opted out, so you won't be seeing him, most likely. Good. I'm fine. Cool. Thank you. I think all Yankees fans speak for this. Like I'm on board with Ben Rice. I think we all are at this point. He's been killing it down there. We've spoken about Ben Rice here on the show before recently. He deserves that job to DH and get first base reps when Goldie sits or DHs. And I'm not really fooled by, a veteran journeyman's spring training statistics. Don't care. The last thing we need is not just Rice, but also Dom Smith, two lefties joining the roster. We are a team full of left-handed hitters, so we don't need another lefty in the mix. So fine with Dom Smith opting out. But speaking of lefties, which this was pretty cool because I always like when this stuff happens. Cool story. JC Escarra, backup catcher, confirmed today. This is a 30-year-old kid. He turns 30 in April. He's a former Uber driver and substitute teacher who's a career minor leaguer, drafted by the Mets in 2013, redrafted by the Orioles in 2017. First baseman, catcher, outfielder, third baseman, in that order. Just got the official confirmation today that the Yankees will be calling him up. He had an outstanding spring, 936 OPS so far in 17 games. The Yankees just posted the video of him getting the call. Boone gave him the news. And then they just recently posted a video of JC calling his mother. It was some pretty cool stuff. So he'll be the backup catcher, it seems. He's known for his bat, contact bat with some line drive pop. A lot of doubles, a lot of walks, little strikeouts, some solid minor league numbers. Last year, only a 695 OPS with Somerset, but AAA Scranton, 930 OPS, which means overall he had a 789 OPS on the year. Don't know too much about him. I don't know much about what he's like as a catcher. But I don't love the fact that he's a lefty. I would obviously prefer the Yankees split lefty-righty at catcher. But we'll see. Maybe he can hit left-handed pitching. That's as far as JC Escarra goes. Hopefully I said his name correctly. Something I found interesting. Jack Curry reported, I think today, that the Yankees are leaning towards Pablo Reyes getting reps over Oswald Peraza at third base. Reyes is a journeyman utility player. He's played for Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, Boston, the Mets. Not that good. 78 career OPS plus across 233 games, so he doesn't play a ton. Last year, 27 OPS plus in 22 games. His best season, I guess you could say, was 2023, where he had a 94 OPS plus in 64 games. Contact bat, low chase rates, low whiff rates, right-handed bat. So that's, I guess, good. But which is why I was confused, because Peraza's a righty. The Yankees don't like Peraza. They've made that known time and time again, consistently shunning him in the pecking order. I don't know. He's a former top prospect. I would rather that than a random older veteran. But it seems like Cabrera is going to get the majority of reps, at least versus right-handed pitching at third base. Probably a little more than that. And then they'll have Pablo Reyes be the second guy in line. And the last thing here I want to discuss involves the rotation. So we'll get to somebody who's just named a part of the Yankee rotation officially when we return from break here on BD4, episode 831. Stay with us. Be right back. If you feel like supporting the podcast, you can Venmo at Robert-Carbone-JR-28. We really appreciate your support. Do you enjoy Yankees baseball but are tired of hearing me yap? I have a suggestion for you. Go check out Yankee Crazy Podcast. Greg Gill is a Yankees podcaster on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and he's now selling merch. Go to yankeecrazy.myshopify.com. Stay connected with us. Visit BD4blog.com to explore our blog, tune into our latest podcasts, and follow us on social media. Thank you for being a part of this community. Okay. Carlos Carrasco was named the number 5 starter today. I don't know where he's going to pitch in that order, but he's part of their rotation officially. Recently wrote an article about that, BD4blog.com, BD4blog.com. I can't believe we're here. This is where we are, where this rotation is so beat up that a guy at the tail end of his career who arguably isn't major league caliber anymore is in the Yankees rotation, a team that's trying to win a championship. Now, you know, the idea is that he's not going to be here long term, but 38-year-old pitcher. The last 6 years, Carrasco 5.02 ERA. The last 2 years, 6.18 ERA. His last good season, 2022 with the Mets, 3.97. The key for Carlos Carrasco, less fastballs, more off speed. Lean away from your four-seamer and sinker. Lean into your curveball and changeup. His fastball, there's no more velocity on the fastball, no more movement. The spin's not great. The results have been awful. They were, the four-seamer and sinker were never his greatest pitches to begin with. They've gotten significantly worse over the years. His off-speed pitches, there's still some good things with it. You know, he still gets decent break, decent spin. The results have been decent, especially with the curveball. You know, changeup's got good drop. Curveball's got really good horizontal break. You know, that's kind of what you're looking at. Just lean into your off speed. Because you go to a StatCast and the entire page is blue. Except chase rate, ground ball rate. So he still gets guys to chase out of the zone. And he can generate a ground ball. So to me, that's, again, use your off speed, right? Even if it means more walks, fine with me. Because I don't want to make a mistake and throwing a bad fastball at 90 miles an hour down the heart of the plate and watching Rafael Devers, pound his chest as he rounds the bases. I don't need Carlos Carrasco to be great. I don't even need him to be that good. I just need him to keep the Yankees in the game for 4 or 5 innings and do that for a month or so until Clark Schmidt's healthy or until Will Warren's ready. Hopefully that's what the idea is. Because if Carlos Carrasco is a long-term solution, or if he's a part of the plan for 2025, that's an issue. Forget October. Obviously, he won't be a part of the plan. I'm saying, like, if he's even a part of the plan in, like, the second half of the season or beyond, May, like, he can't, like, that's not, the AL East is going to be competitive. It's got more offense in it. I don't like the idea of him being here too long. Be serviceable for a month or so. But, he doesn't have the stuff to be successful over a longer period of time. So if he comes here and he's decent for a little bit, You live with it. But he can't be what he's been lately. And I'm also not expecting him to be what he's been in the spring. I see Yankees fans way too invested in spring training statistics. That's ridiculous as it is. For veterans, it's probably even more ridiculous. If he's something in between, what he's been lately versus what he's been in spring training, yeah, like pitch to a 4.5 ERA. I don't care. Just be there. Eat some innings, kill time until we get Schmidt back, or maybe he's still in the rotation then. Hopefully Will Warren shows that he's ready in AAA, and they bring him up quickly. But that's it. Carrasco's part of this rotation. And the good thing about April is you don't really need a fifth starter until the second or third week because of the amount of off days you got built into the schedule. So with that said, folks, that's all we got. I appreciate you all tuning in. The Knicks are about to start, so I'm going to go catch that game. Go Yankees. And this might be the last episode until opening day. I'm not sure. But if you haven't checked out episode 830, Russ Litke from MY Yankee Dad joined us. Russ Litke does his own, or is it? Russ, I said your last name a number of times before, and I'm sure I'm saying it wrong because there was a Yankee on the show, or there was a Yankee by the name of Lucas Litke, and I know that's spelled differently, but I keep just thinking of that when I say your last name. Russ Lichty, I think. I don't fucking know. But he joined us in episode 830. Go check that out. He gave great insight. We talked for about 30, 40 minutes. Check that out. Episode 831's in the books, though. Appreciate you all tuning in. And I'll see you soon. Well, if you made it this far, that means you listened to or watched the entire episode. Thank you. Just remember to follow, subscribe, download, rate and review, and all that fun stuff to help out the podcast. And I will see you in the next episode of BD4.